Welcome back. My name is Alexis Marie, and I'm a certified transformation coach and speaker, as well as a widow. And if you clicked on this video, I want to say, first and foremost, I am so sorry you're here. But I also want you to know that you're not alone and you found a community that understands and that wants to come alongside you and support you in your healing journey. Today, I wanted to share some tips that I have learned along the way of my own healing and grieving journey around being widowed during the holidays. It is a little sticky because this is the time of the year where we're most reflective about family. We spend the most time around family. And so our loss is highlighted during this time of the year. And it can be really tricky to navigate because everything around you is telling you that you should be happy and you should be cheerful and you should be joyful and celebrating. But on the inside, there's nothing that's happy. There's nothing that wants to celebrate. And it just feels like everything is crumbling. At least that's how I felt during my first Christmas. And over time, it's gotten a little bit better, but there's still this void. And so, in navigating my own grief journey, I wanted to share with you some lessons, some tips, and some things that I would do differently in hopes that it'll help you heal and find joy during this time of the season. And so, before we hop in, I want to share this piece because it's the foundation of what I'm about to share. And it's that grief will show up when it wants to show up, how it wants to show up with a lot of friends. And those friends can be depression, sadness, anger, anxiety, loneliness. There's a lot of different combinations and recipes for grief, and we can't really predict when it's going to happen. And so, with that, my first piece of advice is to give yourself permission to feel how you're going to feel. During my first Christmas, I spent a lot of time suppressing grief, suppressing how I felt, suppressing a lot of sadness primarily. My experience, my first Christmas, I was very sad. I was depressed. And I was hosting that year, and my son was 3 years old, and I was so committed to keeping the tradition, to decorating, to getting all of the presents and cooking and being around family, just trying to maintain what I thought was some form of normalcy, that I completely neglected myself to the point where I made myself sick. And looking back on it, I was more committed to this idea of what Christmas was supposed to look like and not to what my new normal looked like. I rejected that. I didn't want it. But in doing that, I literally made myself sick. And so, as painful as it is, as challenging as it is, as uncomfortable as it is, I want you to know that it will get better. But especially if this is going to be your first Christmas without your spouse, please be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself and give yourself the permission to feel how you're going to feel. So, with that, tip number 2 is to lean into your support system, because there may be times where you need to spend the day in bed. There may be times where you just need to take a drive. Or maybe there's going to be a moment where you just need to talk about your spouse. Lean into your support system, lean into those safe spaces that will allow you to do that, because it's part of the healing process. Being able to lean into these support systems and release what needs to come out will allow you to begin doing what I'm going to call tip number 3, and that is creating new traditions. So, our first Christmas, like I said, I did my best to maintain all of our traditions. I even went as far as putting Sterling's Christmas stocking up. That's what worked for us that first Christmas. I don't put up his stocking anymore. I still have it, but I don't put it up anymore. Because we've just kind of transitioned into a new space where that tradition no longer serves us, but it did at that time. And so give yourself permission to find joy in the things that do bring you joy. I've heard from widows that sometimes there's this guilt around being happy or finding joy. And I want to tell you, there's nothing wrong with that. Your Heavenly Father wants you to experience joy, wants you to heal, wants you to go through this process. And so, if there are things that you find that make you happy, or maybe make the kids happy, and you're able to participate, I want to give you the permission to also and do that too. That first Christmas, we also decided that we were going to try to make cookies from scratch. Now, I am not a baker, although Pillsbury had me fooled thinking that I was, because baking cookies from scratch is not the same as taking them out of the container from the grocery store. And so, we had a lot of fun. I still remember that. That's actually probably the fondest memory that I have from that particular Christmas, that first one, was us trying to make these gingerbread cookies. That was an epic fail, but it was something fun that we tried, and we had a great time doing. And so, just to recap, give yourself permission to feel, lean into your support system so that you have the support that you need to navigate and do that. And then the last one, creating new traditions or leaning into old ones, like giving yourself the permission to accept and receive those moments of joy when they come up. Those are my top 3 tips for navigating the holidays during the Christmas season. Of course, there's a lot more. Let me know if you would like to see a part 2, or maybe you have some tips on how you have navigated the holidays in the past. Please leave them in the comments below. Let's help each other out. Let's talk about it. And until I see you in the next video, happy holidays, as happy as they can be. I'm praying for you. And please, please, please be sure to be good to yourself so you can be good to someone else. I'll see you in the next video.